Just as because you left just as you became interested.
You left just as you started to get interested. Did I ever tell you to eat up, go to bed, wash behind your ears? No, I respected your privacy. We really should have done this next week. Hello, everybody. Everybody wants to watch Indiana Jones. Next week they do.
Yeah, next week. Not out the time recording. We can't. We can't
Nerd Bubble
talk about
Podcast, episode 257, the Spider-Verse episode.
Yes.
So,
infected with Indiana Jones.
which is next week because Connor's excited to watch Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Potentially for the first time. I can't remember if I've actually seen the movie or not. It's been so long, and I
used
remember
to always
having
be
the box
on like Sky Movies or like.
I've always seen it on Now TV.
Shit
I've
like
always
that.
clicked it, and I was like, no, I will save it till the right time. Until the day.
Back in like the early 2010s.
Oh,
that's where I remember watching it.
Yeah, I remember definitely having the DVD box set around the early 2010s, maybe even late zeros. I remember having it.
This is it's my sister's favourite one. She loves Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but then she was born in 2003, so.
Fair enough.
I'm just trying to find, because me and Connor were talking about it, my favourite part of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Just listen to Ray Winston's line and the way he's framed. And him just looking at the camera. Oh no!
Wrong bit.
It's slightly earlier.
Oh no, goodness me.
Oh god, the CGI monkeys.
A Shia LaBeouf in his Transformers Prime. Back when he thought he was Optimus.
Do you know what? I hope they're lying. He secretly got a cameo at the end.
I would really appreciate it.
Yes, yeah. It's the earlier part of the scene. So again, look at Ray Winston's face. Fucking do it!
George of the Jungle, Shia of the Jungle. Oh my god, I do not remember.
It's just Ray Winston's face, yeah?
That's Kate Blanchett. Yeah. Oh, Ray, where are you?
I just love that part of the film.
Dangerous.
It's just the way he looks at the. It's
camera.
very dangerous. Right, he's trying to tell you that we really did this. We really drove near the edge of a cliff. Jonesy.
It's really dangerous.
But I just love that bit. Just because he's literally just looking at you, the audience at home.
Into my soul.
But yeah, that's fun. Not as bad as we remember. And
No.
one of the early like Lego games, which we'll go into next week. But first, how have you been?
I've been okay. Just again, hearing a conversation before we start recording. You're working your way up through the film numbers. You're catching up.
I'm far from catching up, my boy. I'm giving it a good old go. I've watched more than last year, or the year before. I think the year before I did like 25 odd films or something like that.
When you called it quits? Really?
No,
Or
just
you
like,
just-
as in,
you-
like
because
what
of the
I just gave
circumstances.
up. Yeah, I'm not
You
watching
just
any more
called it
films.
quits.
But at this point,
Yeah.
halfway through the year, nearly, because at the time you're listening to this, we are at the halfway
end.
point because it's the 30th of June as you listen to this.
Wow, we're halfway there.
Wow!
Fucking Christmas again.
I don't want to
Who wants to think that?
well, you can fuck that Sky High, not after
Yeah.
last time. Yeah, I've seen like 28 films. I still think Devotion's the worst.
Ooh, that's one I've not yet seen, and I'm not in a rush to. No, I'll probably get around to it at some point.
Yeah.
The streaming stuff I always do at the back half of the year.
What, like, as in your back? Like, I do it
That's
whenever
like my
I just don't
back
get out.
catalogue.
I'm like, now that like I don't get out because I'm a parent.
Mm.
That's what I do. Because I managed to watch. I literally said like watch 3 films this week. Well, I even started a fourth. Because I started Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. Only like 20 minutes in, enjoying that so far. I watched Extraction 2, which you
need to.
You need to still watch it.
Badoom tish, yeah.
I liked it. It's it's there. Like we say when we do like the things, there's like you can tell the gaps that like there's enough of a quality gap for a film to essentially slot in there.
Yeah.
My top 5's taking a decent shape. I can't lie, Jeff. We both saw No Hard Feelings, and
Yeah, a movie
Obviously,
that maybe I had better
Spider-Man.
appreciation than I was expecting. And yeah, Spider-Man is still the greatest animated.
today this
Trilogy.
could be.
Just like Guardians, though, 2/3 of almost perfect trilogy. But I think if we see the end result, once the Spider-Verse movie is done next year, or potentially the year after if delays don't come true. Boo the delays. Then we'll have a trilogy face-off between Guardians and into the Sony Spider-Verse and see which trilogy's better, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be a difficult one. Because we were saying we always kind of have that thing in our conversations of like, is there any good like modern trilogies that are ideally like not the mainstay franchise? Like, because we try, if we don't count like the Star Wars. The Star Wars is the MCU's or the DCU stuff, like is into like other stuff because like only real thing, like there's a Jurassic World trilogy, but that's not great.
No. Shock horror.
Creed, yeah, the modern ape stuff. I think's
fantastic.
I think's up there.
Yeah.
Not much.
And that's all we're at, folks.
That's literally.
That's
I mean,
kind
we're one film away from a modern Indiana Jones trilogy because we would have had 4, 5, and 6. I'm like I said to you earlier. Like I know we'll get to it next week. We're gonna do. I know it's an early plug, but next week's all Indiana Jones all the time. We're gonna do all five of the films. So please, get your stuff ready if you're a Jonesy fan.
It's gonna get dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Oh, great moment. Ray Winston in the Meg 3 as Jason Statham's dad.
Wow,
make it happen.
That's inspired casting. Yeah, I'll rate that.
Jesus, Jonah, look at these big sharks. And then Meg's dead.
They're very dangerous.
Oh.
Be careful.
Oh, great. More dads.
More dads.
But it's just like clones of Ray Winston fighting Jason, like the Matrix when all those clones of Agent Smith.
The Raytrix.
Raytrix, the red pill or the blue pill. I've lost them both. They're like Tic Tacs. Who else? Who's another Cockney geezer that we can put in stuff in the Jason Statham cinematic universe?
Oh, fuck.
Danny Dyer. Danny Dyer,
Oh.
Jason Statham, and Ray Winston in the Meg 3.
Why not? I don't hate it.
Meg's on legs.
Meg's on legs.
What was he saying? Yeah, so all indie all the time, so like we'll go through that and probably even touch on the video games because now we could probably stream some.
Hey, finally!
What? Finally, it's
It's
happening
happening
to
to
Steve right in front of his face because we just bought a monitor.
But not for Minecraft. Sod Minecraft.
I love Minecraft.
Boo!
No, listen, get on your
listen, sunshine.
listen there, Sonny Jim.
Oh fuck, more minds.
Do you know who was at the Indiana Jones premiere in Leicester Square?
Not Jason Statham.
No,
No.
our favourite man.
Jake Gyllenhaal? Taika Waititi?
our favourite-
No, not Taika Waititi.
Our favourite British man.
Our favourite British man, or Jason Statham? Not Jason Statham.
No,
David Tennant.
no.
He's Scottish.
Sam
Matt Berry.
Yes.
Oh my.
He was there in a pair of leather flip-flops and a Hawaiian shirt. I'm here to see the new Indiana Jones picture.
Ooh.
Who? We should have gone. It was yesterday, and like it was just like there. Imagine if we'd have gone. Matt Berry, we need you for like 2 seconds. I don't know if you know us, but we spent our lives just talking about you.
Don't
mainly.
forget to subscribe to the Pasty YouTube channel. What the fuck is this script?
Well, subscribe to Pasty Sheep, or you can fuck that Sky High. If you don't subscribe to Pasty Sheep, shit's gonna hit the wind. Unhand me, you reviewing pricks. Why has Matt Berry not been in like an Indiana Jones style movie?
That's what I mean. He's perfect. I can see him in the outfit, the hat, the whip.
He
Yeah,
would
I
have
see
been
him.
like he would have been like the Jack Black-esque character in Jumanji.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Like something like Matt Berry needs to be in more things. Like I know
That's
we
what-
take the piss and
yeah.
we fan cast him and everything, but legitimately, he is a good actor who's gone like I have a very unique voice and I'm gonna put it on for every
persona.
single role that I do.
Whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Well, you can fuck that.
If there was another, you know, the Adventure in Space and Time.
Yes.
If there was one for the 80s, for the JNT era,
yes.
Matt Berry as Colin Baker.
Yes.
I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Takes all sorts to make a world.
You know what we do to alien spies?
And you know what we do to alien spies. You don't even know what a fucking, I forgot the fucking line is, do you, Petty?
What is this shitty script?
Or John Nathan Turner in the same.
That's what, yeah, Matt Berry should have been John Nathan Turner.
But I think he would. The only thing is, he would play John Nathan Turner as more of a caricature. Because it would just be Matt Berry playing Matt Berry.
As
Whereas
J&T,
who could play like like. You need someone of the caliber of like a Michael Sheen to play J&T. Like someone who's going to commit to like, because he's very good as Brian Clough, and like when he turns his like to playing, so like when he was Blair and things like that, like you need someone of that caliber of like, I'm gonna just embody them, and you're just gonna think that this is like a homage rather than an interpretation or impression. Because if Matt Berry did it, it wouldn't make sense. But we'd love to hashtag Matt Berry for Colin Baker.
Hashtag Matt Berry Indiana Jones.
Can we get him to sing Doctor in Distress?
Doctor in Distress.
Don't watch Class by Patrick Ness.
I could just see Matt Berry for Whip.
Many people have in the past.
Many people have.
Yeah. So what have we got? What happened? Things did happen. So.
I was going to say we're going to do Spider-Verse, but also the invasion that was covered briefly last week. There's no longer Secret, folks, because Secret Invasion episode 1.
Tell us your thoughts on Secret Invasion episode 1, which I watched last night.
Okay.
Because the first
late to the party. No,
it's the first sort of free time I had to just sit down and watch it.
Didn't
and
rush
I was
into it. You didn't read anything. You literally
No.
went into it completely blind.
All I went into it knowing was that they did AIR for the
opening sequence.
Yeah.
I don't get the hate for it. I thought it was great. It was like a moving Mona Lisa.
Here's the hate for it.
It's a computer.
People are taking it as this is how Marvel get around crunching
hiring
the visual effects artists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Which I get.
Yes.
You know, they've mistreated a lot of visual
That
effects
half
companies
is-
over like the most recent years. You know, to be specific. Obviously, you know, big studios do it all the time, and it's not on. And crunch is a bad thing. Just like the reason. To tie it back to Spider-Verse quick, where Amy Pascal has not exactly been painting herself in a good light when it comes to the animators that have come out and criticised the working conditions for Across the Spider-Verse, with up to 5 times re-rendering finished work.
That's not on.
7-day weeks, like sometimes 10 hours a day.
Blimey.
100 plus employees doing that, and in paraphrasing what she said was kind of like, like when it's not working and you got to like do, I guess welcome to making a movie, guys. And it's like, that's not how we do it, and it's a reason why I, along with a lot of people on the internet, have sort of gone, if this is, the conditions
standard.
And the thing, and the fact that we're less than a year away from Beyond the Spider-Verse, and apparently nothing has been worked on for Beyond the Spider-Verse apart from some planned stuff they were doing in pre-pro while doing Across.
Yeah.
And the fact that main cast members like Haley Steinfeld have not recorded any dialogue, considering she recorded for 4 years for
this one,
Across, and we can presume for Into the Spider-Verse before it was a couple of years, because normally in animated films, spoilers for how movies work, when they do the likes of, and joining the cast of Toy Story 4 is Keanu Reeves as Duke Kaboom. At that point, Keanu Reeves has recorded all of his lines for Duke Kaboom, because that's how it works. Like, you have to record all the lines, and the animation takes the long bit, so you get them in, you do the thing, and then normally the thing that they do once they get announced as a cast member is like their ADR pickups, or like Tom Hanks ends up doing a lot of the grunts and the strength, like the effort noises, like for them to go with the movements. So that's normally the stuff they do at the end when you know that they're in it. It's not like, oh my god, they were going to record all their lines, because the film will also change. Like sometimes a feature film can become, completely different from where it started out script-wise to where it ends up on the screen.
Rewrites.
You can have rewrites in the animation, which obviously take longer because you're taking up more time and space, and you're doing it with different actors on certain days because of their availability.
Yeah.
For months at a time. So, I don't want Beyond the Spider-Verse to be a rush job. Like, we waited 5 years for this one, and it was fantastic. I think no context for later on, but it's very. It can go either way. It's kind of on par, not as good as the first one in some ways, better than the first one in other ways. It's kind of for a film average so far. Very high standard average, but they're of similar quality, which is not a bad thing. But like it ups everything it needs to do. And for a grand, I know it was split into 2 parts, so technically they should have done them like both as one.
Yeah, exactly. And then split it.
But I'm fine with it taking another 3-4 years. If it means that it's done properly,
and it impresses just as much as this other one. Yeah.
Like if we wait another 5 years, fuck it, I don't care, because
you can fit in a Tom Holland cameo then.
Because as much as we wanted the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse, the Ice Cream Man certainly did.
Oh. Spider-Man, get your exclusive lollipops right here, right now.
Because the popsicle actually chases him, and that's quite good, isn't it? Really, when you see that in the little frame, the Spider-Man popsicle.
Oh my god, I weren't planned. Woohoo! Yeah.
You'd say it wasn't planned, but like, I'm happy to wait for a film, or like anything, as long as it's done properly. Don't put these people through strenuous conditions. Like, it was part of making a movie. Yes, but also as an employer, you have a duty of care.
Yeah, exactly.
To these people,
and respect and dignity, and a thing called loyalty. So, in the long run,
we shall see. So your thoughts on Secret Invasion episode 1? I thought it was good. I thought out of the Marvel shows so far,
this is taking a step in the right direction.
Middle of the pack, maybe slightly above average.
Yeah, but it's gone away from the comedy. This was just not intense, because this is only 1 episode. This is still very early days, early doors.
Yeah,
I know that, but I still very much was on the edge of my seat from the first scene because of a reveal and a question that may or may not pop up from it.
I don't know.
It was just kind of like, oh, what's this?
Well, spoilers for when, because we'll go into. We're not going to go in depth on it, but
no,
we'll talk about it because it's been over a week. The second episode come out. If you listen to this, so go and watch that one.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will be.
I love that the front men for this series, like your leading stars, are Samuel L. Jackson, who is in his 70s now, nearly.
Oh, bloody hell! He's giving Harrison Ford some competition.
50-plus-year-old Ben Mendelsohn.
Right.
He
still got it.
As much as Captain Marvel wasn't bad. It was just a thing of people wanted the next chapter for the story now, and
he's 74. Mr. Jackson's 74.
He looks good on it.
Yeah.
Ben Mendelsohn, can you do a quick? I'm going to guess 56.
Surveys.
It wasn't groundbreaking, no, and it was to go.
You're on the cusp of greatness. We're this close to his age. Older or younger than 56? Because if 56 is wrong.
How far out am I?
2 years, but older or than 56 or younger?
I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
54.
Yes.
He's
54.
That's not bad.
Yeah, 54.
It looks good on it. To be fair, he's I know with some men you can be like, oh, like they
oh god, they've aged.
They look their age, or they look older than they are, or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas, and linking back to Indiana Jones next week, like Harrison Ford is old, but he's like Hollywood old. Like Billy D. Williams is old and frail.
Yeah.
Like when you see him in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
He is. It's like, well, he's not really flying the Millennium Falcon.
Well, that's what I mean.
Whereas Harrison Ford has the youthful energy and exuberance of a man who, obviously, funded by millions of dollars worth of fame and fortune that allow him to keep, healthier and live a very luxurious lifestyle.
Yes.
As anyone would. But and maybe it's just because he smokes a lot of weed and crashes a lot of planes or drops a lot of Millennium Falcon doors on his feet. But
I don't care.
he, even now in his 80s, like doing the interviews for Dial of Destiny and talking about like the MCU, and he's just like, I mean, that'd be great if we could do that. And it's like, this is a man who is older than most people's granddads at this point. And that's
He
just
doesn't
mad.
have any
And
signs of stopping.
or
Yeah.
like
Or slowing down anyway.
who's like David Attenborough's like in his 90s. David Attenborough does not work and conduct himself like a man in his early to mid 90s. 95,
Older.
96,
Older.
98,
Younger.
97.
He's 97, yeah. 97?
Like he
hell.
does like like the work he does. I know he does a lot less work because he doesn't have to, because like when you get to a certain level of fame, then the stuff seeks you. But like even he, like a man who started out as, you know, merely a humble documentary narrator and is, you know, now the voice of many people's, you know, that's like, you know, to look after nature, like he's, you know, that guiding voice, and you know, people will be devastated when he dies.
Well, definitely. Yeah.
Like the Queen in her 90s, she only really became frail in the last couple of years, and a lot of that probably more so to do with the death of a, not obviously medically speaking, you know, she's a lot more, she was, God rest her soul, if he's real, she's a lot more frail than, you know, most people. But when you're married to someone for so long, like losing them is, you know, like that's why they say people die of a broken heart. Like if they're married for a long time, like not long after, the partner that is surviving will also, you know, it's kind of like you give up and you just, you know, want to go back to being together kind of thing.
Yeah.
So like, but people like, you know, Sir David Attenborough, Harrison Ford, like the older people, some look or like act,
Definitely
they act younger.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the way they portray themselves, and some don't. Where was we going with this? I forgot what we were talking about.
It was Spider-Man and Sony and animation and how they get treated, and then it was Indiana Jones and
Yes,
and
Samuel L. Jackson. That's where we
Mr.
were.
Jackson. Secret Invasion. That was right.
That
yes.
was right, yes.
Yes.
Like Ben, we talk about Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel L. Jackson. There we go.
Ages,
I
yes.
liked it. I think the only thing that is going to do this, to, like, you know, people like that are on TikTok, like Soups, probably. Reason I don't watch him anymore is because one of the people that are like, you need to be doing this, and this with Kenobi, and then. Even though, but it's like, but you're watching this 1 week at a time. Like, it's not like you're in a movie theater and the movie's finished. Like, every week this is happening.
It's a movie that
like
yeah.
the Obi-Wan show isn't just meant to be he fights Darth Vader for 6 hours
Yeah, exactly.
and then it's over.
Yeah,
There's story, there's development. It's got to also retroactively link it to fit it better between 3 and 4. So to get to move his character arc from Revenge of the Sith to A New Hope. You know, that started in that movie, but this has got to do it a bit more, you know, the final, like, basically putting him in the final places before we...
transition into
yeah.
New Hope, yeah.
It probably might... I know a lot of people are moaning that, like, oh, like, this didn't happen. It's like, yeah, but this is episode 1 of a show that, again, because of the nature of it and because it's borrowing the name from the comic book, but like many Marvel things, it's appropriating it for the universe that it's set in.
Yes.
It's a loose adaptation of Secret Invasion
Of course,
at best.
of course.
Mainly because
I've read the comic, but I just knowing from the covers and the heroes. I'm not saying heroes and faces can't turn up, and maybe there's some surprises in store. But like,
I think there'll be we know Rhodey's in it.
yes, yeah.
We actually got our first conflict because we were talking about this before, weren't we? The politics of the MCU, because we haven't had a president since Ellis mentioned.
Yeah, you're right.
We have this president, who's President
Ice Cream Man.
President Ice Cream Man. President Mr. Whippy, we'll call him.
President Whippy.
And
Code name for Indiana Jones.
Maybe. And we see Rhodey interacting with him as liaison, or like, is he sort of like what Ross was? Is he going to be like a secretary
to like the defense?
Yeah,
secretary.
like obviously not Secretary of State, because that's basically the person who's going to be the next president. But that would be cool if we ended up in a world where we had Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Rhodey was then President of the United States, who was like, so the guy that's been there, done that, is very supportive of that, and then makes the government, like, you know, rights the wrongs of the Hydra-fueled government of, you know, the earlier MCU films by being like, no, we're totally support. A bit like, you know, when it's like, we got to president in the White House who likes mutants, like the throwaway line in like X-Men 3 or whatever. It's like makes it easier on the lives of those heroes, because then it can be even more shocking when there's a power struggle between the president and Thunderbolt Ross. And then that's maybe what gets Thunderbolt Ross elected with the Trump-like people that are going to exist in this world, because they'll play to that as well and be like, yeah, because there is, we've proven the last couple of years that there's people in this world in real life that would vote for the idiot, that just because he's going to like destroy the thing that annoys you the most, like possibly. I don't know, I speculate. Because of the comic that it's borrowing from, people are going to expect a lot of reveals, and I know they said before that there will be. I wouldn't be surprised if we get at least a couple of big ones.
There's got to be something.
Not from the main lot, because I don't think they're going to waste your time with that and not have it, when you've got Secret Wars and stuff coming up, like
more secrets in development.
There's stuff that can linger into that and be played out in the movies as well, but it can lead threads that lead into characters being affected by it, which I hope it does. I don't want it to be a thing of like, we want this person to be a Skrull, and this was a Skrull the whole time, and this person was never real, they were always a Skrull. Like,
No, but it has to be, I think, at least one person, not in the cast of Secret Invasion, but there's got to be someone that we look at and think, them, and then even if we go back and watch Infinity Saga and know that they weren't who we thought they were the whole time.
But then where's the real one? That's going to be the question.
More
then.
Questions,
And then you essentially give the actor or actress the opportunity to play that character again but a completely different version.
Because for real, quote unquote real,
Well, we got our reveal ? That Ross, or as they refer to, Ross's duplicate. Kind of thing, like Ross's.
Because we see later or earlier in the same episode, you see Emilia Clarke and like the Skrull Rebellion capture people and sort of hang them and put them on like this.
They like entrap them, like take his face.
Take his face.
Take his mind.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we're assuming that General Ross has probably been captured because. I
forget his name's Ross as well, isn't it? Everett Ross.
The person who's was referred to as like someone that was impersonating what's his name, Everett Ross. That's the one.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little quick cameo from Martin Freeman. I wouldn't that's not going to be the last of him, whether it's in Skrull or genuine form. Hopefully we find out. Maybe that will be the lead into Ironheart whenever we get that, because there's got to be some link there.
It's the ice cream man. Honestly. He's in on it.
Literally.
He is a Skrull.
Absolute bastardo.
Fucking Skrull ice cream man. Here, have my Skrull favourite ice cream, she.
Anybody getting out for the Skrull ice cream?
It's a secret.
But I liked it. I think as soon as Ben... I just can't deal with it.
Thank you. We'll give you a shout out at the end of the episode.
Shout out to Mr. Dinglebell.
Mr. Dinglebell. No, but I kind of hope this doesn't just lead into the Marvels. But I feel like the Skrull conflict, the fact that Talos, both in Captain Marvel and in this, I feel like there's got to be some plot lead into the Marvels. It'd be nice if we get an Ironheart lead in as well. But I feel like. I know this is very early predictions, but I feel like there's got to be some Marvels ramifications, but going into Captain Marvel 2 or the Marvels in general.
Possibly, yeah.
But no, I just think, regardless of what happens in the actual comic, because I haven't read it, and I just know that look, heroes at the cover, and they're all fucking green aliens. So I don't know if it's just like, one or two of our main Avengers were kidnapped at some point and they weren't who they said they were. But I'm like with you, George. I don't want it to be like, so and so was this all the time. This person was never real. Like another person out there, Maria Hill. Is she a Skrull? Was she not a Skrull? I mean, all right.
Well, there was that theory, wasn't there, that no one calls him by his first name, and she's always called him Nick. And the theory that she was someone that's never existed, she's always been a Skrull or whatever, or it's always been Telos's wife. Like Telos's wife, who sadly is dead.
Yeah, brackets, dead. I feel like I need to watch Captain Marvel, which I didn't think I'd be saying that, but I feel like I need to watch Captain Marvel because Emilia Clarke's character is the young Skrull, like the young daughter.
Yes.
In that film, that's like grown up.
Gia.
Gia, yeah.
Because as soon as he said that, like, oh, Gear's gone missing, it was like, well, that's Amelia Clarke then, because we know that that was her character name. So that reveal was kind of like already sort of, well, that's done. I know what that is then. Which was a shame. I think the thing with
Yeah.
thing with people that used to be in Game of Thrones, they're not always good outside of Game of Thrones. Like there's good actors that have been
There's some really
in
good
Game
names.
of Thrones. Like a lot of the older actors, like more established actors, should I say, that were in Game of Thrones, were in it because of the careers they'd had before it.
Yes.
Whereas some of the younger ones, this was their first thing. So like, you know, what they've done since is, you know, Kit Harington, Spooks movie, that was sort of during. So was Pompeii, both.
Yeah, I haven't seen any, but
The main thing I've seen him in post has been Eternals.
Eternals.
Good. There's fucking, what's the word? Why am I thinking of? There's potential. Amelia Clarke.
Last Christmas.
Last Christmas was okay, but even in that, she's kind of. I know that a lot of it's the fucking Paul Feig script, or what?
Yeah.
Or Judd Apatow, whichever one it is.
It's Judge. No, Paul Feig.
Paul Feig.
Feig.
Yeah. It's like a lot of it's like, oh, it's just drear. It's just cheesy shit, which I know it's meant to be because it's a Christmas film about George Michael songs. Sophie Turner.
X-Men.
Jean Grey. Terrible Jean Grey.
Yeah.
I think proving that she is a very, she was capable in Game of Thrones, maybe not so in other stuff, but then, maybe there's a thing waiting out there to show her off in. Maisie Williams, again, fantastic actress.
Astrid, for me, the weakest season of Modern Who, and that's it. And New Mutants, which was standalone and not relevant.
Astrid? You mean a shielder?
Oh, there you go.
Astrid was Kylie Minogue.
Shit.
Before she was thrown into that fucking reactor.
Prequel to Astrid, yeah.
A shielder and me in the thing of like, oh look, it's the Maisie Williams Game of the Thrones. Look, it's a Game of Thrones actor in Doctor Who. It's like, why are you doing it to try and like just appeal to the Game of Thrones
Swerve
audience?
us.
iBoy on Netflix, she's quite good in. Someone's just crashed into the ice cream van, probably.
Tempter sharp.
New Mutants, she's okay, but even that, I'm like, more. Richard Madden, arguably the most successful.
Yeah, successful.
Because he'd not done. Because he was 2011. He's what, 38 now.
Let's have a look. There's another edition of older or younger.
So like he was in his early mid-20s.
How old did you say he was?
38.
Younger.
36.
Older.
37.
Yeah.
So he was so when he filmed Game of Thrones, he was about 24, 25.
Bloody hell, Jesus.
So that's one of his first, because Samuel, not Tarly, but the other one. Samuel Tarly. It's Tarly. I was thinking Samwise Gamgee. Sorry.
No, that's medieval Game of Thrones.
Samuel Tarly. John Bradley. It was his first thing out of drama school.
Game of Thrones.
Like
yes.
and like the likes of Maisie Williams and that were still studying because they was like quite young. I know Kit Harington and Richard Madden like similar ages.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're still like quite young when you think about it, and even Alfie Allen again.
He killed Keanu Reeves' dog.
Richard Madden, he was good in that. Richard Madden post The Bodyguard, probably his most famous thing he's been in.
Citadel recently.
Citadel, from what I've seen of it's quite good. I need to sit down and actually binge it. Eternals again, I think it was a good turn for him because, spoiler alert, he's the villain.
Oh, yeah. The King of the North.
And one of my favourite performances from him is
John Reed.
John Reed in Rocketman, yeah. In the weird Game of Thrones actors play John Reed universe, because Aidan Gillen, who plays Littlefinger, plays him in Bohemian Rhapsody.
What? That's weird.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Jesus, goodness me.
But imagine if he'd have turned up at the end of Rocketman. I'm here to talk to you about the Top of the Pops initiative. Oh, that's bad. I can't do that. I'm here to talk to you about the let's stop doing drugs and get Robbie Williams into rehab initiative.
Take that initiative.
I think there's
Wow.
I'm not saying make them a shared universe, but then have that the carryover, because it's confusing. There's two John Reeds within a year of each other, and they're both played by Game of Thrones actors. I think that's quite weird.
And that in itself would be a secret invasion of the weirdest kind.
Who else? Momoa speaks for itself because obviously he's talked about his difficult career that's not really got much better with the yeah, I finally got Aquaman. Maybe it's gone. Maybe I'm Lobo.
Maybe
in
I'm
June,
here.
Sort of.
Yeah, I'm here, but
I'm in the Fast and Furious movie and a second one retroactively because I was in 5. Through CGI trickery.
I definitely was in it.
It's one of those things. But I'm hoping like this is a thing to give her a good vehicle. I really enjoyed Olivia Colman in this.
I literally was going to say an actress that wasn't in Game of Thrones, what I thought was good was Olivia Colman. Short and brief, but I liked her in this.
It's nice to see her in a genre specific thing because she hasn't done that.
No.
Like
not
she's
from
not
what I've seen her in. No.
Because obviously for us, Broadchurch, season 3 and 4 of The Crown.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously for some moons ago now, IT Crowd is where she kind of like sort of got her name. It like became more of a household name TV wise because at that time she was more into comedy, like in comedies than more dramatic roles that she's gone into and thrived in. The Favourite, things like that. She's an Academy Award winning actress, so she is fabulous, and it's nice to see her just play sort of like she's almost like too good for the part, like as in like
in a way
because we don't know what it is yet, but like she's got
the
gravitas, but she's playing it with a bit of fun.
Yeah,
you believe that her and Fury know each other. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, and it's like I said to you, it's nice that two middle-aged to more elderly gentlemen in Samuel L. Jackson's case are fronting a MCU
TV series.
TV show,
yeah, but that isn't comedy based.
And I just love Orson Krennic. I mean Ben Mendelsohn.
We're on the verge of greatness. We're this close.
I think, but like, I loved him in Captain Marvel because it was like, oh, it's Ben Mendelsohn just being allowed to play, and not just be like, I'm angry, shouty villain man.
Yeah.
But no, I like it. I like where it's going. I like it a lot. Let's have some more of it. And we already have at this point. But something we did have more of was Spider-Verse, but we're not there yet. What we will have more of is Rick and Morty. And you know what we'll have more? Cast members, because all of Justin Roiland's roles are currently in the process of being recast.
Deleted. Or recast, okay.
I hope Sean... Is it Sean Kelly? On TikTok, the guy that does the really good Rick and Morty impression. He does a really good Morty impression. His Rick's coming on a lot more because he's like one of the things that people ask me when I do my Morty impression is like, can you do Rick? And like it's obviously something he's worked on. He's like, because all the Justin Roiland voices can stem from somewhere, and he like is good at all of them, sort of thing. And like Morty is the thing he's best at because he even does the difference between like season 1 and 2 Morty where he's like, oh man, oh jeez, and then before he comes, you deserve like the best in life, Jessica, and like those kind of things. Like he hopefully will be Rick and or Morty. I know that some of the charges were dropped, I think, in the case, but whether Roiland retains control or whatever, or is still probably going to make money from these things, I think just do the right thing and just, recast them, because I think the show can carry on. Like, even if the show... I wouldn't mind if the show ended. If the show just went, you know what, we kind of became our own self-destruction in the end. Let's...
Yeah, that's
because
just...
it's very meta. Because for me, the show hasn't been at its peak since... I think the best Rick and Morty stories were in season 2, and like season 1 and 2, because it was like, these are stories they've wanted to tell for ages, and then once getting the job full-time was kind of like,
now we've got to
what
top
stories
ourselves.
do we tell?
Yeah.
And then the bringing on board of different and new writers over the last couple of seasons has brought it back to, oh no, these are stories that these guys have thought about, and they've made it into a Rick and Morty story. And that's quite good. Ahsoka is essentially being referred to by Dave Filoni as Rebel Season 5.
Need to rewatch Bloody Rebels then.
Because obviously most of the crew of the fucking...
Millennium Falcon. The Star Destroyer.
What is it called?
I actually can't remember, the crew.
The crew of the
Rebellion.
Yeah, them.
The crew of the Rebellion.
Kobe Smulders shuts down reports that she's returning as Maria Hill in the Marvels. I don't know anything about that. and similar production stills have led people to believe that Valkyrie will be appearing in the Marvels because there's a headshot in the background
Ooh.
of Tessa Thompson.
Hmm.
Something I'm not against.
The Ghost. The
The
ship's
Ghost,
called
yes.
the Ghost.
Yes. With the trailer of Kraven the Hunter, we've finally completed the Russell Crowe trilogy of fathers, because he's the father of Superman, he's the father of Hercules, and now he's the father of Kraven the Hunter.
Oh my god! I didn't even realise.
The three daddies.
The three daddies.
Into the daddyverse.
Wow. Into
Yes.
the daddyverse.
The Bad Bunny's El Muerto Spider-Man spin-off movie has been completely removed from the calendars.
schedules. Yeah.
So,
Poor Bad Bunny.
yes.
Poor Bunny.
Sure. It's something that I mildly thought would have been interesting
It's
maybe
a
it
Sony
still
film,
will
who
be.
cares?
Someday from now.
Yeah.
One animator claims Phil Lord fought with Sony on Across the Spider-Verse for the entire process, rewriting the film up to the last minute. Pascal denies this, but adds there were major overhauls of the narrative and visuals along the way, because obviously Sony would want it to go a specific way for them to market, and obviously the story that Lord and Miller wanted to stay true to carry on from the first one would have been their priority, not just a thing of let's make it marketable to the general audience, which obviously production companies are paid to. Well,
paid to do that.
that's how they make the money.
Yeah.
DC wise, because the Flash video's done quite well. So Kevin Smith, in a recent, was it Fat Man Beyond or Fat Man on Batman, we was talking about how
The Flash.
they originally wanted it to be Christian Bale to be the Sting.
Oh,
at the
he
end.
was kind of the awkward elephant in the room, the bat in the room. I felt like if any studio were going to be like, oh, let's get a Batman in the movie, they would at least think Christian Bale, just because of money, and what he
to
did
the
for
general
them.
audience.
Yeah.
Like
He's Batman. Yeah.
Because what is it? It's an old Seth Rogen interview, I think. It's like when you ask, I think it was on Bad Neighbours or something like that. The film with Zac Efron. Where the sorority. Or fraternity, whatever it is. They basically say, because it's a very, generational thing. Like, if you say to me, like, who's your Batman? Like, Michael Keaton. And, like, for him, it would be Christian Bale. Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, this generation, especially us, we would mainly associate good Batman movies. Well, not just good Batman movies, but, like, our Batman would more than likely be
lean
Christian
towards
Bale.
Christian Bale. Yeah.
Some more
But
of
I'm happy
some more
to.
of the younger ones.
I'm
now,
happy
Ben
to say
Affleck.
that my first Batman though was Keaton. I did watch my first Batman foray was '89, and I'm very proud to say that.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Nice.
Mine was unashamedly was George Clooney. So
Oh.
I think
Huzzah.
maybe there was a TV showing of Forever, so it might have been Val Kilmer. But I remember like vividly, like my dad owning the Batman and Robin DVD, and sort of like I watched it like once or twice. Never thought anything of it, and then like when Batman Begins, I saw Dark Knight Rises at the cinema. Batman Begins was one of my first Blu-rays, I think. Early doors. It makes sense because obviously, like, most marketable Batman. Glad he's not in it because it kind of just like lets it be alone.
Yeah,
like,
let
just
it be its own thing.
I'm so surprised that there wasn't him or Patterson in it, like somewhere, even in just
Yeah,
one of them
in the
weird,
background shot
even
or
just
like
one of
in
them
a
weird fucking bubbles.
yeah.
Or even
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. Like, I'm surprised that there wasn't, thinking of here's our successful ones. Here's the one that made all the money. Here's the one that's we got a new one coming out of it, and here's the one that won an Academy Award.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would have made sense.
But I'm glad that there was some restraint, or just people flat out refusing. I think the Clooney thing's more fun if they double down on it and have
that's what I mean.
Machete direct it and have Clooney be the Batman. Batman Beyond it, because obviously they wanted to Batman Beyond it with Keaton at one point.
Yeah, and it was very likely was going to happen.
Like, oh no,
yeah.
we're gonna do it with Ben Affleck because just that whole thing. That's the whole video. We're kind of done with the DC for a little bit until we do our big old fucking what actually happened to the DC
what
video.
What the fuck happened to it? Yeah.
Sad news, Connor.
Oh no.
For Paddington 3.
It's been cancelled.
Sally Hawkins will not be returning to her role as Mrs. Hugh Bonneville's wife in Paddington 3.
Who's the recast?
Emily Mortimer.
I mean, I know Pedro's be disappointed. This is not the way he would say it, but I've not seen the third greatest movie of all time in the form of Paddington 2. Not yet. Nick Cage also, if you're listening, I'm so sorry, Mr. Cage. Don't hunt me down.
They were both on Netflix at one point. Do yourself a favour. I know that they're at
Fine
least one
Paddington.
of them is on Disney Plus.
Mm.
Watch them because for when they come out, and also it's a very fascinating production history because up until the last minute, Colin Firth was the voice of Paddington.
Oh, who is the voice? Not because I'm really.
Ben Whishaw.
He's been. Oh.
Because Colin Firth obviously proper British icon playing a British icon. It made sense, but he kind of went. I just
No thanks.
No, like in interview since he's kind of like I just sounded too old.
Yeah. Okay.
And then Ben Whishaw works great because obviously it's him coming in and then just like redoing the lines. And then the second one is like, oh no, now this is
Ben Wishaw's thing.
This is the Ben Whishaw Paddington.
Yeah.
Because obviously they weren't going to reanimate
Mm.
Not that you would have to, but like the mannerisms may have been carried off slightly differently because the way the voice of Colin Firth would have gone would have made the sort of the visual effects team move the model a certain way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So fascinating history, and they're very good, very heartfelt, and for years everyone's been like. It's one of the few kids films that like I'd love to see another one of. Like we didn't need a Peter Rabbit 2. We so totally need a Paddington 3 because it's been 5 years nearly since the second one. 2018, I think the second one come out.
Sounds
Something
about
like
right.
that. Like it was.
Sounds about right.
And whenever he's asked about it, Hugh Bonneville was like, "Yeah, it's going to be about Paddington like going to rehab. He's got to recover." Mrs. Brown, that's it. That's the Brown family. Because you got Julie Walters in it. You got Hugh Bonneville, Sally Hawkins, who was fabulous as the mother, which is a shame if she's not coming back for it. Hugh Grant in one of his first. In one of the early stage of here's me transitioning to character actor villainy roles kind of thing.
The Huazons.
Yes, the huge
Renaissance.
But yeah, he's spoilers the villain for Paddington 2. Like he's very good. You got Peter Capaldi in both of them.
Yes.
As Mr. Curry, and someone did a joke thing of like Peter Capaldi will not be reprising his role as Mr. Curry in Paddington 3. He will instead be replaced by Jodie Whittaker. Like there was loads of them kind of joke posts afterwards, but yeah, it's a shame. I really like the Paddington films. That could be up there with modern trilogies. In terms of especially animated wise, because
no, we shall see.
Well, not animated, it's live action CGI.
I've heard good things about How to Train Your Dragon because apart from the first one,
yes,
I've not.
First one I like. Second one I haven't watched in a long time. Third one I never saw.
Fair play then.
But I, again, like you, heard very good things about it.
Yeah.
Kung Fu Panda 3, decent. I watched that recently and I hadn't seen that one ever. And I remember seeing 1 or 2 at the cinema.
Fourth one is on its way? It was a series or something's on its way?
Because ever since DreamWorks did that weird intro thing of here's all our things we made, like Madagascar and Kung Fu Panda and Shrek. Like we're doing more of those again. And it's good because it's also going to kind of wrap it up because it's the Jack Black character passing the torch of the Dragon Warrior supposedly onto the next one. Which is weird when you think you had like a movie in 2008, then like 2 years later another one, and then like 6 years later for a sequel, and now we're gonna be at 7+ years for the fourth one. So.
Yeah.
Anywho, last bit DC wise, James Gunn has talked a lot about there's the stuff out there for the casting.
Markabilly.
There's the castings of the Superman and Lois that we're currently going through. The 3 choices for both Clark Kent and Lois Lane have rumoured to be put in pairs together to like audition. So Nicholas Holt's got so and so, but Emma McKay's got someone else.
Okay.
So we'll see. To test her chemistry because she's being put up for Lois apparently. Reportedly, Superman Legacy will have Superman joining a world where heroes already exist. That makes sense as we've done the reset, restructure.
Yeah.
The first hero is Blue Beetle. The first DCU movie is Superman Legacy, but there's a plot point that moves over from Aquaman 2. So having Superman not be the first thing in there, that leads more credence into there will be some that will stay, which will make sense.
Yeah.
Whether I'll care or not, don't know.
Yeah, it's 2 years. A lot can happen in 2 years.
But ironically, James Gunn has been talking about superhero films in general.
Right.
People have gotten really lazy with superhero stories. I'm there watching third acts of superhero films where I really just don't feel like there's rhyme or reason to what's happening. I just don't care about the characters. That comes from a clip from a YouTube video, I'm assuming with like a GQ style interview thing, or one of the podcast things he'd done recently where he talked about like
the whole genre.
you know,
yeah.
Blue Beetle's the first character. And someone quote tweeted it with, it's ironic coming from the man who said The Flash was one of the greatest superhero movies ever made.
Yeah.
Which obviously, to a certain point, you've got to big up your own product when you're the guy.
Yes.
But let this cat out before I fucking... Be gone, foul beast! Yes. But anyway, let us journey across dimensions.
Across universes. And don't even get me started on that kid in that Doctor Strange and Earth in 1999.
1999.
Yeah, no. 9 brackets keeps going. Yeah.
9. 9999999.
118 212.
Hurrah, hurrah. Sony's Pascal Pictures is Marvel's is by associations is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. I liked it. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. But
oh no. Yeah, let's get the butts out of the way.
Unlike
2018,
maybe this says a lot about the film quality in 2018. Because like you said, it's not like there's a consistent level of there's a more consistent level of movies. There's not like loads of good ones, loads of shit ones like there has been in previous
years.
So maybe it says more about a slightly higher average quality. This does not go straight to the top of my list for this year. Whereas 2018, and I know it was late in the day for 2018,
quite late,
but instantly in that last month and a half, it was like, no, that's the movie that I've been waiting for this year. That is my number. Like when we eventually do our things of like actually having graphics where it's like our, you know, like favorite movie of 2018 things and that was the best of 2018 for me. That was the peak. That was the pinnacle. It come out of nowhere. It's something that, you know, was barely getting any attention in terms of pre-production and post-production and like eventual like trailers and stuff because it wasn't getting a lot. Oh, it's an animated
Spider-Man movie. Why do we want that? Yeah.
But it told, you know, the great story, the great message, and now a lot more people are cottoning onto it because of how popular it was last time out.
4 years ago.
5-year wait.
Yeah.
The technology has obviously come a long way, so the techniques have. I really did love it. I really did love it. The only thing I didn't love as much was the soundtrack, but that's because I just think the first soundtrack was just so
iconic.
It done a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of like the relatability and grounding it and allowing you to feel the world sort of like mold around you.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah.
I think our principal cast of Shamik Moore,
Haley
Steinfeld,
Chris Pine again as Peter Parker, man.
Chris Pine turns back up again, and obviously Oscar Isaac,
yes,
and Jake Johnson, all fantastic. I loved it. It was a classic middle, like it was a classic Act 2 of the third act structure.
Brian Tyree Henry and whoever Miles' mum is, I forgot.
Oh, Judy Reyes, I believe, because she used to be she was in Dexter. She was one of the police officers in Dexter. She was very. Cause I remember seeing the name. I was like, I've seen that song before. I was like, that's the Dexter lady.
I know you, the Dexter woman.
The Dexter woman, yes. Yeah, his family very good. I think it's nice to go into a story where you're like, I want to see more of Miles, because. The first film does a lot of, because relatively new in terms of comics history, like
at that point,
Miles is not like he's not been around for that long.
No.
Just like with Gwen Stacy, Spider-Woman, and Miss Marvel, stuff like that. They're very recent characters, so it's nice for them to sort of have a profound impact and be like, oh no, this is one of our mainstays of storytelling. Like when they had that banner of like the 4 cinematic Spider-Men.
Yeah.
And it's nice that, as a shame as it's only animated, but it's nice that it's like, you know, 3 white guys, and now, you know, we've got Miles in there, and it'll be nice when we have a few more incarnations of Miles, so like we can, you know, to have. I think the next thing, like I'm not saying right away, I'm not saying kill Peter off this instant in the MCU and have Miles, like we get there. I think, like we've said before, 3 trilogies.
3 trilogies.
The high school, college, and Parker Industries trilogies. Like, you have Miles turn up and then be like he is going to be in the previous extended DLC essentially was what Miles Morales was, and what is going to be in Spider-Man 2. Like you have them
the
sort of be
games.
like the Batman and role, and then it's the death and like, oh, now you've got the pressure on it, but also you're younger than this guy was when he took it on, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Because he's like 14 when Peter dies, whereas Peter's like 16, 17 when he gets bitten. I think in the original
Comics,
amazing comics, yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, it'd be
I did not know
nice. The only real shame is that the only black Spider-Man that they, this is cinematic Spider-Man. Like the only black one is animated. We need to get to a point where
for now that will
for
be,
now, yes,
yeah, for now.
I think
yeah.
And where people say like, because when Shamik Moore says like, I want to play him in live action, I'm gonna
start working.
I'm gonna start working out, lose some weight so you can actually see, because obviously Miles in the way he's portrayed in animation is very lanky and slender.
Yeah, exactly.
But he doesn't need to be, because like with spoiler alert, well, no, but you've seen it by now. Like the Prowler cameo from fucking Donald Glover.
That Prowler cameo, yeah.
That was that doesn't necessarily mean it was the MCU one.
No, exactly.
Because
just
there's lots
of Prowler, yeah.
Like where people have drawn the conclusions that was Otto Octavius the one from Spider-Man 2, or is it an approximation that's basically universes that are near enough?
99.9 the same. Yeah.
Like Batman in Flash.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not directly
it's
from
not
the Burton one,
verse,
but it's one close enough that's that actor for shorthand, because it's that if that one existed in a universe where there was Kryptonians and other superheroes kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like it can be an approximation. You can have, because having Shamik Moore play him in live action as a version of it, because then you've already got half of it down, because the voice would automatically go, oh no, that is Miles. That's just obviously because he's 28, 29.
I think in real life,
we've had, Tobey Maguire was 27 when he was cast as Spider-Man, and
he was saying a high schooler,
and recently portrayed him like at 46, come back to the part, because he turned 48 yesterday. Tobey Maguire.
Yes, no, but what was it? I saw literally this week. Tobey Maguire No Way Home was 46, but then Willem Dafoe in the first one when he filmed it was 46.
He was 46 when he
I think that's what I've seen.
And Tom Holland is now the age when Tobey Maguire was cast as Spider-Man, and he's done like 6 movies.
That's mad.
It's mad, because he was 22 when he... 22 when... No, he was 20... Because he's the same age as me, so he was 20 when Civil War come out.
Blimey. Jesus.
So that's mad. That's mad. So yeah, like just having like it can just be a Miles that's an approximation of that one, but just one live action, and 2 he's just an older Miles, and you can have him team up with another Miles like from the MCU. Like you could have like when the Ultimate Universe, we've run out of ideas when the 616 and the Ultimate Universes collide. Like you could have that, and then have the consequences be that some of the Ultimate Miles has an effect on the MCU Miles.
Yeah.
Do it like that.
Yeah.
Like Miles sort of ends up mentoring himself because he got mentored by Peter and mentors himself.
Think not jumping ahead or without jumping to the ending or anything. I think that's going to be the sequel because of the end reveal.
Even put Shamik Moore as a live action cameo so that he plays 2 different versions of Miles in
Miles.
that.
Yes.
Because we know we're going to get more Gwen variants. Who's to say we don't get more Miles variants, because we've only had...
Well, they've said
we've only had 2 Mileses that we've seen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. There's probably more in the background, but 2 main...
Because they said all we know about the sequel is that it will delve into variants of Gwen, Daniel Kaluuya's character Hobie, and somebody else.
People have said that every bit of dialogue between Hobie and Spider-Man Noir in the next one is just going to be full of just this venomous rage.
I cannot wait.
To eat the
scenes. Yeah.
Well, we could do spoilers, because for the end, we've got the OGs from Into the Spider-Verse
show up at the end.
Are being recruited to go in search of Miles by Gwen, because obviously Nick Cage was asked and he's like, no, I wasn't in it. But through archival audio for him and John Mulaney, and new recording from, I forget who plays Penny Parker, because she gets a brief line, doesn't she?
She says something, but I can't remember.
And I like how her animation style is the same, but obviously older, so it's a bit more dour because she's not as young and youthful as Happy. It's like, well, what happened to her?
Yeah, she was quite,
But no, it's the whole point of this film. This film is kind of doing in animation form what the Home trilogy did, but better, because it's from the start of the fact that this is all a big origin story, and this is all about,
Yeah.
Because the first bit was his powers. This part is essentially what he can realistically do, because you can't save everyone, which comes up briefly in the first one. But it's like it's choosing between saving the one person you care about or saving everyone, and then there will sort of be a round off because it will be the last of this version of Miles' story from this animation team, because there'll probably be spin-offs and stuff. And like I say, because they're apparently negotiating to maybe use some of these characters in cameos in Secret Wars.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
But even then, have like it, because I know that some people are against you can't have animation in live action, but we've had live action in the animation because that's happened. But like, you can either do that or
Kimiko Glenn is the actress that did Penny Parker.
Yeah, because she briefly has a reprisal of the role for the end credits, and like even that you could be, if you're that hung up in the MCU about having animated characters come in and have to be live action, then you cast Shamik Moore, you cast Jake Johnston, you cast Oscar Isaac. Maybe, because people have said, this isn't the same one from the end of the first one. Like, design-wise,
no,
it's a definite redesign.
Yeah.
But it's the same character because,
100%.
the way Miguel O'Hara is in the comic, he's not a completely screwed-on kind of Spider-Man, really, is he?
Yeah, when I read about it, he really is quite messed up and disturbing. He can be quite dark and irresponsible.
But this is another one I look forward to owning when it comes out
Very
on 4K.
much so. Yeah, the minute it's available for pre-order,
I don't like
straight in my basket.
And because I've got the first one on a steelbook, am I going to have to get this one on a steelbook? Probably. Do I care? No. Because this is, like you say, between this and Guardians, we could have,
Cusp
two
of a
new
perfect
contenders
trilogy.
for best superhero
Comic book
movie
trilogies.
trilogies.
Yeah.
And at the moment, there isn't. Like, I wouldn't Cap there for consistency and quality, but as in out and out, these are fucking amazing. Like you probably know what my top, this goes in, it's in the top 5, I can say that, for the audience at home, because we're both going to end up forgetting about each other's lists, and when we do them at the end of the year, we're going to be like, wasn't this nice, wasn't there some lovely surprises, but I feel bad that this doesn't go straight to the top, but the ones that are above it, I'm like,
but at the end of the day, it's a part 1. This isn't the full thing, but when we get to the end,
was originally a part 1.
Yeah.
Because it was originally split into 2, and then it had the Infinity War thing of, it's a 2-part story, but they're still very much their own films. Sorry, carry on.
I suppose.
No,
you are right. It's just when we see the final product with next year's one, and retroactively, whether you want to view it as a part 1, part 2 lens or not, because it very much ends on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it does. Do you think that the Beyond the Spider-Verse will ultimately affect your viewing of this one in the future, depending on how it concludes?
Definitely depending on how the next one concludes, but if they want to get the next one out in 9 months' time, because I think at the minute it's March 24 is the current
push
date.
Push it back a couple of years.
I mean, do it. Don't get it out, and don't just give us cameos for the sake of it and being like, there you go, this is the end of it. No, just let this be the start of a revolution that will eventually transition into live action, and get the Miles movement going. Get Miles into live action.
Start seeding him in it, we've had Aaron Davis in the MCU.
Yeah.
Get us on that journey.
The Donald Glover thing was pretty sick, though. Where, again, people are like, it's the MCU Miles, MCU Prowler. No, it's just a Prowler that happens to be Donald Glover.
Yeah, because it's shorthand for this is the guy that's, if you've been paying
started
attention.
the whole Miles thing in the comics.
Because he was one of the inspirations for the creation of Miles in the comics, because of him on Community wearing them spiderweb pyjamas.
Oh, yeah, pyjamas.
And for a long time was the voice of Miles in
the animated stuff, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And visual shorthand for, if you've been paying attention, you know that that's his uncle from the MCU. Is that the MCU Prowler? It could be. It could not be. It could be another universe approximation that's just using that as visual shorthand for what we call storytelling purposes.
Yeah.
What did you think of the? I think there was just enough, because Mike's been saying, there is the expectation now with comic book movies of, there has to be cameos.
It does. It feels like every comic book movie is going into that territory, which isn't particularly healthy. Because if that is just going to be the norm for everything going forward, then
it gets boring. Yeah.
It very, very quickly.
Like someone said, everything is about every superhero thing is about the multiverse at the moment. It's like someone actually broke down the MCU shows and stuff specifically, and it was Loki, Quantumania, Multiverse of Madness, and a couple of other ones. But basically, like 5 things are about the multiverse of the MCU that have come out post Endgame, and everything else is like its own
Standalone
thing.
personal stories.
Yes, some of it
Yeah.
seems rudderless, but like it's not had the focus. And if there's an arc, you'll build to it. But it means that once multiverse stuff's done, it won't. It's not like it's going to be ignored, but it won't be a mainstay. It'll just be a thing that happened.
Yeah. That's the thing. The Marvel. If we're in the Marvel dip, are we out the Marvel dip? We don't know. Has Guardians and
I don't
Spider-Man
think
sort of
we
swayed
are.
you out of it, or would you? Is there ever a dip in quality?
Like
do
we've
you
always said, there's a baseline level of filmmaking quality. No matter like the very least a film MCU wise is enjoyable,
Yes.
but our standards are raised because Endgame was the first of a. This was the first of its kind in a universe of shared characters that interacted and crossed over,
Over
now-
18
and then
films.
had an overarching culmination. It's
Yeah.
the first of these universes that had a season finale
Yeah, exactly.
and is
Yeah.
carrying on.
Yeah. Somehow. Yeah.
Where it's one of them things, but we shall obviously see at some point next year. Hopefully they push it back just because the animation. The animators coming out
rush.
and saying about the the rush
Work
job and
conditions.
the work conditions. Pay them right. Also let them live their life and actually have breaks so that they don't fucking collapse and fucking exude all their energy at work.
Yeah.
It's so well made. Like it's the first, like, because we always, when we saw the first one, like one of the main things I remember you saying when you come out was, it's like obviously because they're all done differently, but like just the textures and the styles of the different universes, no matter if they were just like slightly off, like Miles to Gwen's universe, or comparing that to like the full like anime style of Penny's universe,
Yeah.
like the noir sort of like almost like 1920s esque fucking
black and white retro feel, neo
yeah.
noir feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and obviously the complete Warner Brothers Looney Tunes style of Spider-Ham. Like
Yeah. Modern stuff.
it's
yeah.
that, but also just refined just this little bit more. Like everything feels so vibrant and alive. Like the textures just breathe life into these characters. I think the voice actors do a stand-up job anyway. And the story on the base of it is simple. It's not just purely like it's a multiverse story. Like it's,
No, it really isn't.
it's a
to
story
begin
that
with.
just happens to take place in a thing of like
dabble into it.
yeah.
And you take, like with going back to the MCU, I like how in each Spider-Man film, whether you count MCU or not, we've had different more stupid comic book movies as they've gone on, and they've
Yeah.
taken the most ridiculous one in the form of the Spot from the 90s animated cartoon episode. That one episode he was in, and yes, he is absolutely ridiculous, but they've made him such a, in this story anyway, such a force to be reckoned with, and he is going to be like OP as fuck in the next one. Although
Yeah.
it's Miles' own doing. But I just like how the beginning of the film literally is him goofing around, and he can't even rob an ATM, and he don't know how to use his holes. Pun intended. Literally, he don't know how to use his holes. And then it's just at the end, the power of the multiverse in the palm of my hands. It made me giggle when he said that.
Yeah.
I was like, I can see what.
Rosie, I love this movie.
Yeah. The Spot was probably the most entertaining thing for me in the first bit of the movie.
The Spot.
I don't even know. But I mean, to go into the origin of the character, it was just a background character in the first one when they were doing the big heist with Catherine Hahn's, Octavius. I don't know what her name is.
Oh, Olivia
Bagel guy.
Octavius, yeah.
He's just a random guy that got thrown a bagel at, and that's the reason why he became the Spot, because he wanted to take revenge on Spider-Man. He's embarrassed me too long. Now I'll ruin his. You and I, you're my nemesis. It's just how did they make the Spot so compelling in an animated movie?
Yeah,
It's
very well done. Who voices him in Spider-Verse?
Jason Schwartzman.
No way.
Jason.
Jason.
Jason. Yeah, Jason Schwartzman of Wes Anderson fame, mostly.
Wes Anderson, don't send him them TikToks of the Wes Anderson trend on TikTok because he doesn't like them.
Asteroid City, I think, is out.
Astro City
I
came
still
out
need to see it.
Friday last, yeah.
Mm.
Need to see that. That was one of the things I was like, yep, see that. What more can we say that sort of like, because obviously we missed a bit of the train on this because it literally, you saw it the day after we recorded our last bulk of episodes.
Before I went to Germany, because I would have watched it in German over there, but I wanted to watch a movie at least I would have understood beforehand, and Oh, I would have been happy if they had subtitles on over there, but I couldn't take that risk. But it was do or do not. There is no try. Like I absolutely had to drop everything and go and see that movie, and it was one of the, and again, like the first one, bit of a surprise, just visually just stunning, breathtaking, just looking at the way the animations and the textures breathe new life. Again, it's only 5 years since 2018, but I just feel like there's been enough of an evolution already in 5 years. Like, God's good to say, like, if they do a solo animated movie, not another Miles trilogy, but just say they randomly decide to do another animated Spider-Man movie in the next 10 years, like, what is that going to look like? The possibility is truly endless with animation, in my mind. And the thing is, I'm not even an animation guy. I'm still got loads to catch up on. I don't watch animated, like, out of preference, but when things like this come along, it just, it makes your eyeballs pop. It makes you want to be in it. It makes me want to be a cartoon, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And
well done, yeah. It's very well made. Like, it's, the fact that it made more than the original theatrical run of the first one in the first week.
The first weekend, I thought.
What's it on now at the moment? The box office.
Great. Yeah, let's have a look. Across the Spider-Verse box office. Across the Spider-Verse daily 51. What's this? BoxOfficeMojo.com.
We need worldwide 559 million. Because it was 330 was.
I think
was the first one worldwide after.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Spider-Man dethrones The Flash in Battle of Superheroes at the top UK box office. As Indiana Jones sweeps in? As Indiana Jones looms. Yeah, it's just a variety article. Fourth weekend, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse collected in UK money 1.99 million or $2.5 million for a total of 23.4 billion pounds, according to numbers from Comscore. In its second weekend, like The Flash took 1.3 million for a total of 6.7. Going back to The Flash, I saw it a second time. Again, feelings haven't changed. It's fine. Fucking effects are a mess, and I literally went into it not expecting to sing its praise. I literally saw it and thought it was fine. It was me and one other person in there. No one went to see it. So I think it does speak volumes that, maybe word of mouth. The effects have really trended, and, it basically, the chances of it continuing are very unlikely at this point. Which I can't say it's a shame because of the real life circumstance and the fact that this movie took fucking 20 years to make. But and the state it got released in. But Flash, no one was there. Not surprised. But Spider-Man, keep going there, folks. We need more movies like this.
Yeah, because
we need more.
Like CGI hand, like the Lego sequence that was done by the 14-year-old that did the Lego recreation of the trailers.
Yeah,
they're basically we found out where he was and hired him. He did it during spring break, and it's wow, that's new talent nurturing, and I
inspiring stuff.
And it just looks so good, like that bit as well.
Seamless.
Like the stuff that's 2D, the stuff that's 3D, like the fact that he makes his own sound effects.
Yeah, boop boop. Yeah, I
think the voice cast across the board are fantastic. Like they are really, literally spot on. Haha. But I had like the thing is with the lightning in a bottle with the first one, it was kind of like there's always second album syndrome. Like, can they do it again? Like, it's hard to you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. Like it happens, like it happens, and then you're constantly chasing doing it again, and it doesn't always work sometimes with sequels, but this is a one that stands up to the quality of the first one. It improves on a lot of aspects of the first one. Obviously the magic of it happening for the first time will never be duplicated or matched.
No.
But in terms of you go for this for a 1 and 2, absolutely top notch, especially in terms of animated movies, like you say, bringing more money and more attention to this, and when you support films like this, it sends the right messages. We want more films like this, not just a Spider-Man Miles Morales film. We want, animated stuff of live-action stuff that already exists. Like, it's a different universe, but people love it and are invested in it 110%. So, yeah. What more can be said? I think we both... What would you give it? I think I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
Probably a 9.5.
I think the thing is, I will give this one over the first, if anything, because the first one's so immaculate to both of us and precious, like Gollum and his ring. I think the story, not to cut you off, but I think the story, and considering we got so much more out of Gwen, I just think
Yep.
the story goes for more of a punch and more of an not an adult feel because it is an adult, but it explores themes that weren't. He didn't have time to go into the first because he's basically, oh look, Spider-Man, and I'm Spider-Man here. We got to save the multiverse from
Yeah,
collapsing.
it was kind of like we've done this, we've got to get to the big
The scenes with the parents, Spider and Gwen and Miles together. Will they? Won't they? Whatever. But it's just there. Life is Strange. You ever played the Life is Strange game? Like it's just chilled, mellow scenes like that transitioned into Spider-Man. I just like.
Yeah, because I think some of the strongest stuff in more modern superhero things is the more human moments and elements that within that.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree with you on that, and I think because obviously, ironically, bringing it back to Rick and Morty, I think this felt like, them like the first film was them like going, give us the money and the budget to do the second one. Like we've got a trilogy, essentially, like with Lord and Miller doing the story and things like that. But you then go, no, this is the story we want to tell with the second one. This is like the non-negotiables if they're obviously rewriting it as, studio interference, especially Sony-wise in a Spider-Man picture, has happened before because they thought, oh, it's just going to go unnoticed. It'll make a bit of money back. It made like more than double its budget back. And like, oh no, this is franchisable. We're going to do this, but we want to make some changes so that it fits in with that. It's like, no, it doesn't need to fit in with the other stuff. The whole point of it is it exists in its own universe, so just let it be. And I think there is more heart and more passion in the story for this one because obviously it was kind of a thing of like, we'll make this and if it does well, it does well with the first one.
Yeah, totally.
But they put enough of it in there to seed it for it to then feel elaborated and more structured in the story in this one. And there is obviously, like you say, it's longer. This one's longer by what, 20 minutes?
Well, yeah, because I think the first is only like an hour and 40, but that it goes quick.
So nearly an hour because this is like 2:25.
Let's just do so. I'm going to do into first. Into runtime.
I'm going to guess 1 minute. 1 minute.
1 hour. Bloody hell, that's a long minute.
1 hour 49.
Take away 9 minutes, you'd have been right. An hour and 40 exactly.
Wow.
So that must be with credits.
And that's got a lot in it.
For 90
that does not
minute,
waste a second.
No, that really don't.
It doesn't feel too rushed. Okay.
Spider-Verse Beyond is next year's shit across. We could maybe Google next year's movie and it might tell us. I can't even spell across the. Oh yeah, okay, that's about right considering about the ending. I felt like the only thing with this one, this isn't a criticism, this is more of a nitpick. I felt like the movie was going to end maybe at 3 different points.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it got to that point where each time, Miles said a dramatic final line, and I was like, there we go. And then it just kept carrying on. And then Gwen said something after she hugged the dad, and I thought, there we go. And then you get the actual ending. I'm like, that would have been the perfect time to end. But, alright, I've got the number in front of me. Do you want to guess?
2 hours 26.
Okay, take away 10 minutes. 2 hours and 16.
Really?
So it has roughly 35 minutes longer than the first.
Doesn't feel it, but it feels longer. But it doesn't feel.
Yeah, not that much longer. I would have said maybe an hour and 57 or something like that. I would have said just under 2 hours, not. But I feel like the three endings in my mind make it 2016. So yeah, I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
It's definitely longer, but in my mind, they would have been like end there. Oh, well, it kept going. End there. Oh no, it kept going. So not in a bad way, but I felt like it would have ended at certain points, and I was there, and the songs kept ending, and then it kept going, and I was like, all right, and then it ended at thankfully the right moment, and I thought that was an excellent first half to this part 1/part 2/ not really story that they're telling.
Mm-hmm.
And again, 2 out of 3, perfect trilogy. It looks like it's very promising. But obviously this one's probably got the most eyes on it. It's the most anticipated one. On paper, this might be the finale of this series as we're looking at it in the minute. Will it disappoint? Will it definitely deliver? If it disappoints, it won't be in a painful fuck this movie shit kind of way. It won't be like what a shame. It just would be a simple case of, this movie is still well made, it's still very consistent. At least had its story from start to finish, did its thing. But you would just look at it and be like, this is definitely the weakest of the three. It won't be a disappointment where I'm like, oh, these two are brilliant. What the fuck happened with this one? Hopefully, touch wood. But No, this third one looks very promising. I cannot wait for this movie. I do not care about the Spum and Craven the Aaron Hunter and the rest of the Sonyverse, but anything Miles and animation, sign me up for. Just, I want it. I do want it tomorrow, but at the same time, don't do it under harsh conditions and don't do it just to meet expectations and budget. Just do it right, space it out. Get it made, do it with passion, do it with the love and care we know you guys at Sony Animation have, and then we can talk about the bigger picture afterwards. Because in the meanwhile, we've got Spider-Man 2, the Insomniac game, to keep us going, in my mind.
Yeah, very soon, yeah.
Like, September-y time, I think?
Not long at all. Spider-Man fans...
Spider-Mania, yeah.
Keep eating good. Can Craven keep up the success? They've just released the trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which we will... Maybe you can do a reaction to that, I don't know. But also, do you want to see the trailer to the Futurama revival?
Sure, yeah.
And on that, we can end, because we'll have to cut this out because of copyright. So, Connor, where can they get in contact with us?
nerdbiblecontact@gmail.com, or if you want to follow us on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the TikTokiness, you can follow us at Pacey Sheep across all the social medias. And then let us know what you thought about Into the Spider-Verse, where you think it's going to go next, who do you want, you as in the TV over there, who you want to see turn up in the next movie. If there's an actor or a voice you want to hear in the Spider-Man, and do you want to be Spider-Man? Please let us know, and also get prepared for next week's Indiana Jones retrospect / marathon / whipping, because we're going to cover all 5, as well as maybe spoiler free the new one, where I would have at least have seen the new one, and then maybe not spoil but maybe tease George enough to make him get off his fat ass and see it. But yeah, thank you for listening, stay tuned, and keep sharing the spider love, and fuck the Flash.
Until next time, goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen.